Over the history of media, we've seen some of the best action and the worst. Spanning through decades in film, TV, video games, sports, and even YouTube. I'm going to compare some of the best ever.
Hands above your head, now!
You, stay!
And some of the worst ever.
And look at this, he just reaches in and bites him.
And tell you why they work.
I'll be back.
Or why they don't.
Oh my God!
Let's start off with a scene that ticks all the action boxes.
We are getting aggravated.
Yes, we are.
The Matrix Reloaded features a 15-minute, high-octane thrill fest of a car chase scene, intermixed with an awesome fight scene in a mansion. And a high-speed flying game of catch-up by Neo. In short, this is the best 15 minutes of the entire Matrix series, which consists of one great movie, one okay movie, one average movie, and one really bad movie.
This can't be real.
But let's focus on the gem that is the scene. It features bikes, cars, trucks, hand-to-hand combat, a samurai sword, long overcoats, guns, dreadlocks, shades, and kick-ass music. This is true action at its most pure. Not only did the directors have to create this motorway from scratch, which took months of preparation, they also had to shoot some scenes minus any cars on the road at all. So what's not to love about this scene? It's got everything, right? We have clear protagonists, clear antagonists, the camera work is solid, even the CGI almost 20 years on looks better than most current movies. Well, honestly, the movie was still a major letdown. From the extreme highs of the first movie to the ups and downs of this movie, which plays more like an episode than a fully formed feature film. But this is bad action scenes versus good action scenes, so let's isolate this scene and call it for what it is: pure genius. So that brings us to our first lesson. What actually makes an action scene good? Is it all of the above in one sequence? For example, guns, swords, cars, kick-ass music? Well, no. For example, there's a small joy in the brilliance of this moment.
Run, Forrest, run!
A great action scene can range from the drama of the situation to the sheer spectacle of the scene. However, when it comes to a bad action scene, well, I mean, I had to, right? Yes, Fast and Furious is fun, it's loud, it's brash, it knows exactly what it is. And in actuality, this scene from The Fate of the Furious isn't so bad. There's a lack of CGI, the driving is pretty realistic, so what makes this scene so bad?
Little nobody has clearly lost his little mind.
Okay, here's the thing. There's a fine line between good bad and just bad bad. Take for example this scene from the original Terminator. In retrospect, it's not the best of scenes. This bomb is just Acme made. The Arnie mock-up face is woeful and the whole thing is staged quite poorly. But back in 1984 when this movie was made, this scene would have been an incredible scene to watch. Now, if you're watching this scene for the first time now, in present day, it may look like a B movie. Now, what is a B movie?
DreamWorks B movie.
No, it's not that.
Outside the hive.
Well, this is a B movie. And so is this.
Jim! Can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide.
Please.
Give me the keys of these locks.
I don't have any keys.
Give me the key to the lock.
I don't have a key. I don't know anything.
Give me the key.
I don't have.
I cannot believe that this is not a B movie. I mean, it's toilet water, right? I'll be doing a poll on the channel to decide if this is toilet water or not. No, I'm just kidding. But back to this. This scene and this series, bar the first two movies, are just very high budget B movies. And I would have to say that with or without context, this scene is just really bad. But actually this scene is also really bad, but it's also kind of fun. So I think it's quite universal what makes something good when it comes to action. Normally it's jaw-dropping, undeniable, and sits in the memory for years. If you love movies, you've seen this before. Even if you haven't seen the movie itself, you've seen this before.
Run, Forrest, run!
If you love football, who doesn't remember this? And yes, it is football, not soccer, for all you Americans. Ronaldo defied gravity in 2019, jumping to the height of 2.56 meters, which is 8 feet and 5 inches, which to date is recorded as one of the highest ever headers in football history. Yes, football, not soccer. Side note, Messi's still a better player.
From Lionel Messi.
I mean, look at this.
Surging forward with real menace here. Brilliant from Messi. Oh!
Michael Jordan, on the other hand, did this back in 1988, which is considered one of the most legendary dunks in the history of basketball. But it's not the highest dunk ever. This was done by Michael Wilson in the early 2000s. However, just like the Ronaldo header, there's a sheer elegance and grace to the way it's executed, which means that this dunk remains legendary.
Unbelievable. Here we go.
And this one, not so much. He did it! And that's often how it works. I mean, does anyone remember this scene from the Spanish heist TV show, Money Heist? After the success of season 1, the budgets for this show got bigger and bigger. And what resulted was more and more outlandish sequences like this one. And by the time the show came to an end in its last season, it transformed fully from the intricate cat and mouse series that it started off as into an all-out action fest. But who actually remembers it? Because I actually forgot all about it until I did this video. Now, if you do remember the sequence before I mentioned the sequence, do let me know in the comments and just say the word heist. But Money Heist isn't the only example of a show getting bigger and bigger and maybe along the way losing sight of exactly what it was meant to be in the first place. Game of Thrones. Yes, let's do Game of Thrones because, well, look at this. In the last season, it had all the budget in the world, but it seemed to lose its mind with this terribly ill-conceived, poorly lit action episode. Yes, a whole episode of action. It sounds amazing. It wasn't. The Battle of Winterfell goes down as one of the most disappointing pieces of TV ever. I can still feel the pain. Having said that, I can still feel the pain of this episode of Lost, which, let's not talk about that. It wasn't just the bad lighting, the pacing, the lack of intelligence, and the poor choice of character motivations that made this whole episode a real letdown. The whole episode cost an estimated $20 million, whilst this cost $7,000. And way better. This scene is from the 1992 low-budget action film El Mariachi, directed by the legendary Robert Rodriguez. And this scene used 0 stuntmen, 0 actors, and cost $12 to do. I'll let him explain.
One cable that's tied around the pole right there, we put up, fastened it from that pole to a telephone pole across the street. And then what he does is slide across this with a homemade pulley device that we had a local blacksmith make us for $12 US. We tested it in Carlos's backyard.
Action!
Now you recognize this guy here. He's one of the bad guys in the movie. Instead of having a film crew, I would just use my actors. I mean, they're just standing around anyway, so he was helping me by pulling me in the wheelchair as I got this shot of Carlos going overhead. We're actually just waiting for our bus to arrive. Here's our bus. What I did was I got all the way down the street with a zoom lens so that I could compact the action slowly by pushing in as he went down the line, making it look like the bus was much closer to him than it was. I also undercranked so that it would look a little faster. So he kicked the bus, swings over to his mark on top of the truck, and he doesn't fall on the bus. I get that separately from inside the bus.
So this entire movie cost $7,000 to make. To remove the Man of Steel's mustache cost $3 million, and it still looks shit. Which brings us to this scene. Okay, before I get abuse in the comments, I know there's some big Zack Snyder fans out there and some massive Man of Steel fans. So if you know my channel, you know that I'm not a big fan of the movie. And I've semi-analyzed this scene before in previous videos. But much to my own surprise, I do want to praise it this time around.
It is that evolution always wins.
Because yes, I still think it was a wrong choice for Zack Snyder to lean so heavily into trying to keep the real life physics of the characters and make it real to life in scenes, which makes every scene in this movie like a real disaster for any architect to watch. I mean, look at these buildings crumbling to pieces. This is just a big old mess. I do also see the value in the action. If you strip away the storyline, which is not good, the action itself is real spectacle. It's the very definition of spectacle. We have helicopters, trains, bombs, extreme zooms, aliens. What else could you want from a pure action scene? If you're an action junkie, then this scene is just a wet dream with your eyes open. The music is also first rate. But this scene, this whole scene, is stolen by actress Untitled Chapter, who plays Flora. Listen, if you knew how long it took me to research how to say both of these names, you'd join my Patreon instantly, which can be done by clicking the link in the description, by the way. You get these videos unedited and early. However, going back to this actress, she steals this scene, and unbelievably, prior to getting this role, she was actually thinking about quitting acting altogether. And this is the thing that Zack Snyder does so very well as a director. He casts some really good faces in the roles for his films. Gal Gadot is a terrible actress.
And enough champagne to fill the Nile. Kal-El, no. Max Lord, you're putting yourself and everyone else in grave danger. I need you to give me the stone. What happened to it?
What did you say?
So exciting.
Very interested to find the men who bought those.
Why should I help you?
Because we're asking you nicely.
Just tell me what it costs to get her away from me. Name a price. I'll buy the whole damn boat if I have to.
Enough.
I said enough.
As Amazons, this is our duty.
You have no idea what kind of power you're dealing with.
But she looks great as Wonder Woman. Many think Ben Affleck is the best Batman ever. And I know some of you watching out there are huge Henry Cavill lovers. Go on, you can put your hand up. Don't be shy.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, this scene is actually great when talking about pure action scenes. Bravo and she. You know what? Let's just watch her being awesome again.
And if history has proven anything.
Right, that's enough of that. Playing right now is a little snippet from the awesome YouTube action short by the Kirby brothers called survivors. They directed the great Scott Adkins flick, Accident Man 2. This short is a really cool 7-minute zombie action film and worth a watch. Check it out and drop a comment. Mentioned you were recommended by me. Right, so in the comments, did you like this new series? Which of the action scenes in this video did you think was the worst and the best? And what action scenes should I cover next? If this video gets 500 likes, I'll make a part 2. This has been bad action scenes versus good action scenes.
He killed himself!
Call 911. Jim! Jim! Call 911! How could you have done this? Jim! I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide. How could you have done this? How could you have committed suicide? I can't help you out of this one, Jim. With all we've been through, I can't pull you out of this one.